Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial on object-oriented programming in Java. Today's tutorial I'm going to talk about encapsulation, which is one of the features of Java. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is your wrapping of your data. Consider that you want to make a gift to your friend for his birthday, and you are going to wrap it or wrap the box and then present it. So wrapping the box means that what is inside the wrapper or what is inside the package, you don't see it or no one can see it. So that is what the encapsulation is. We are wrapping our data so that no outside class can see it. And how do we do it? We can do it using the keyword private, which makes our instance variable invisible from outside world. Only the methods within the class can access those private variables. On the other hand, we are going to make the methods within the class as public so that if someone would like to manipulate with the data or with the fields of the class or of the object, then they can do so using the methods. This is all about the summary of the encapsulation. So that means we can say that this data hiding concept is called the encapsulation. What is the advantage of encapsulation? The advantage is that the user has no idea about inner implementation of data. The outside class invokes only the setter method to initialize an object. And I'll be talking about what the setter method is. And then it increases flexibility. Suppose you want to make a class read-only. Then you do what? The class can omit the setter methods. That means you are not giving the user the setter method to set or initialize a value. They can just read it. And then encapsulation increases reusability and maintainability of code. Okay, so now let's take an example. I want to create a student class, and then I have a instance variable as student ID. Okay, and the type is, let's say the type is integer. Now the previous way that we accessed this student ID was what? We did student s equals new student, that creates a new object with the student ID as 0, and then we accessed that student ID was the reference and then the dot and then student ID. So if we would like to assign 5 to the student ID, this was the way. So that means we did a direct access to variable, and of course this is an instance variable. In encapsulation we don't allow it. We use methods to manipulate variables. So that means we need to have some methods, and we say like we want to manipulate it. That means we need to access these methods, and in order to access this, what we need to do? We need to make the methods as public methods to access this, and this one we want to make as private. Okay, so my new class structure will be like this. When I'm going to implement the encapsulation, it is going to be private int ID, and we know that with private no one can access this variable or method, whatever you say. In this case this is a variable, and then we are going to have two methods, and these are going to be public one method will set the value. You can also say like initialize, and the other one will get the value. Okay, that means if we would like to set the value of student ID equals 5, we have to have one method, and if we would like to get the value of the student ID, we'll have this method. So now let's write the methods. For setting, we are going to write this public, and because we are setting, that means we are not returning anything, so the return type should be void. Set student ID, and then because we are setting the value, that means we need to pass something, and let's say int s, and then we are saying ID equals s. Okay, in this case what is happening that I am passing this value from some outside class, and this value is going to be assigned to this. Okay, because this student ID is this one. And then there is another method public, and because this is a student ID which is an integer type, so I'm returning the int type, int get student ID, and then this is going to return what? Return student ID. Okay, so this first method is a void method. It is just going to set the value of this variable, and this is how we are setting. We are passing on the ID, and that is being assigned here. And in the other one, I am returning the value which is of integer type, and I'm returning what value? I'm actually returning this value. So let's say I would like to access it through some other class, and then in that case what I need to do, I need to create a new instance. Okay, and then if I say s dot get student ID, this will return what? This will return this ID, which is right now is 0 because I have just created a default constructor. I have invoked the default constructor, and which is making this student ID to be 0 when it is initialized first. Okay, and then if I would like to set it, I just call this reference s dot, and then invoke what? Invoke this method set student ID, and then I'm passing on a value which is, let's say, 5, and then what? This value of the student ID becomes 5. So that means, see here, I haven't invoked the instance variable directly, rather I have used the get method and the set method, and this is what is called the encapsulation. That means this is private, no one can access, and these two are public, meaning anyone can access, and through this we are manipulating, or we are using this instance variable. So these methods are also called, there is a name for those, and we call it the getter and setter methods. Okay, so this is an example with a primitive type, right? Because we say that this integer is a primitive type. But what happens if we would like to create, or if you'd like to use a object data type. Then let's say, take another example. I'm going to have a course class, and the course has an attribute as private string course name, and then I have what? I have public void set course name, and here I have string s. Okay, I am passing this parameter, and then course name equals s, and then I have another getter method, and I'm going to return what? This is a string, so I'm returning a string get course name, and this is going to return what? This course name. Okay, so I have got a course object. Now I would like to create a student object or a student class, and in that student class I need to know that what course that student has taken. So I'll write like this: student, and then I have a private int student ID, and I would like to keep the detail of the course in here. So what I should do is a private course, and then course, okay, or let's say course detail. So in here, in the student, I have what? I have two instance variables. One is of primitive data type, and the other one is the user defined data type, which is a course, and this is a reference. And then for this I will have public void set course detail, okay, and then I'm passing on course C, and then what should I do? This dot course detail equals C. So what does it mean? That when I'm going to set the course for this student, okay, I'm going to do what? I'm passing on this course information, and that course information C is being assigned to this course detail. So for this student I am setting up the course through this course detail. Now let's go to the actual example. So you can see that I have created a course object here with the course ID and course name, and it's very simple. Course ID is integer type and course name is a string type, and 4 getter and setter methods for 2 attributes. Very simple and straightforward. And then I have a student object for which we have a student ID, student name, and I would like to put the course detail here. Okay, and for these 3 attributes I have total 6 getter and setter methods. And look at here that for the course, what I did, I have get student course, so it's returning the student course. That means it will return this student course, and for setting the student course I am taking the input of the course information for the student, and I am setting that student course, and this is how I'm doing it. Now if I go to student test, in the student test you can see that I have defined 2 courses. One course with an object of course ID with initialized as course ID equals 1 and course name is Introduction to Java. And for the second course, I have initialized as the course ID 2 and course name as OOP. My intention is to assign this first course to the first student. So this is how I did. I have created a student, empty student object, initialized with the default values, and then I have invoked the setter method for the student. I invoke this set student ID, and then I'm assigning the value of 1, and then student name as Asif, and then for the course I'm assigning this one. Okay, and accordingly I have used the second student or initialized. Okay, and then when I run system.out.println, I invoked, see that I invoked the reference and then dot and then the getter name or getter method for the student name, and then getter method for the student name and then the course name. Okay, so this is what is happening here. This seems to be a little bit longer access. So I call the reference, and there are two parts here, calling the reference, and then get student course will return me what? Will return me the course object. And then from that course object I am getting the course name. So this is how it is working. If I go here, so I'm getting the student object here, and under that I have the course object here. So the course name, this course has a course name. So first I need to invoke the student s dot get the course object. So dot get course, and then the course object is returning me this object. Okay, so from the student reference I'm invoking the get course. So the get course will return me this course object, and from that course object I am getting the get course name. Okay, so that is what was happening over there. And then if I run it, let's see, you can see that the student 1 name and course name is coming up, and for the student 2 the name and the course is coming up as well. So this is what the encapsulation is. Again, to summarize, that the encapsulation is hiding your data, making those private and accessing those through the public method, through the public getter and setter method. That's all for today. Thank you.